Hello everybody, I'm going to be going over a quick guide on how to do the Lunar Herblore method because it's pretty much one of the least documented things I've ever seen. Not a lot of people do this, mainly because you have to have Lunar Diplomacy incomplete, and a lot of people just rush the quest because they want Super Glass Making Lunar Stun and all that kind of stuff. So for starters, you have to have this quest incomplete, and you also have to have all the stat requirements for this quest. I've talked to a couple people who are under 40 defense. They can't actually do this method because you need 40 defense for the quest itself. If you need to know how to get to this point, or do these quests, like do all the prerequisites, there are many better guides on that than what I could give you. All I really gotta say is you will do Lunar Diplomacy up to the point where you've given everything to the Enviromancer, you've made the Waking Sleep Potion already, and you've made all of the Lunar gear. You give it all to the Enviromancer, and then she will proceed to give it back and tell you to go into the Dream World. This is where the method starts. So as you speak to the Enviromancer, she will talk to you and give you more Kindling and Waking Sleep Potion. All you gotta do is use the Kindling on the Waking Sleep Potion, drop the Soak Kindling, leaving you with this empty vial. So I'm going to go ahead and get a full inventory of these empty vials, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and, now that we've got a full inventory, we're going to go ahead and empty this last vial, and we're going to make our way up to the Lunar Village. This is where we're going to have to go to get to the bank and a water source. And since we haven't completed the quest, we don't actually have access to any of the teleports to the Lunar Village, so we just have to run. A couple things to note: you have to have the Seal of Passage in your inventory at all times, otherwise the Enviromancer is just going to teleport you away. And also, while you don't have to wear the lunar armor, you could wear weight reduction gear instead. You have to have it on you at all times. Like, it has to be present. Like, you either have to be wearing it or it has to be in your inventory. Otherwise, the Enviromancer will give it back. I don't actually know if you can keep it in your player-owned house. That might actually be an experiment I should try. But either way, like, you have to have it. Otherwise, she'll just keep giving it back to you. Next up, we have to fill all of our vials here with water, and that's like, you know, you have to fill vials with water. That's the next step. One thing to note is I would highly recommend having shift drop enabled. If you don't have shift drop enabled, what are you doing? It's the most it's the most useful feature in this game by far. So what we're gonna do is I like to go ahead off the bat, just use 4 herbs on 4 vials. So I use 4 Marintils first. That's just what I like to start with. And then I'm just going to go ahead and drag this vial down here. I'm going to use 4 Guams. The nice thing about these potions is they both are, like, they'll use as fast as you can click. And also they will always prioritize the first inventory slot. So I have this Marintil vial down here, and it just turns all of these potions into the Guam Mare vial first. So now that we have all these ready to go, one really useful feature that Conduit has, that's the client I'm using right now, is you can actually adjust the shift settings on each vial. So instead of your standard behavior, so if I have it on default behavior, the shift click option is just going to be on use, but I can change the shift settings so it's on destroy. So all I have to do is hold shift and Y, and it will I just click on the vials to destroy them. So now that I actually have a few more invent slots free, I actually have 5 free inventory slots. This actually makes it significantly easier. I can just spam the Marintils on the vial, and since it will always prioritize the top vials first, I can just set this vial down here, and it makes my life significantly easier. So just go ahead and use all the Marintils on the vials, and then now that that's done, you just go ahead and switch over to the Guams. Now each herb will give you 84 experience for a grand total of 168 XP per potion, which is fantastic considering these are the worst of the worst herbs. Like, you're going to get 25 XP off a Guam, and I don't even know how much an anti-poison gives you, because I've literally never made that potion in my entire life. There's never been a need to. Like, you can buy them from the Karamja store or, like, use a lunar spell. So now that all of these are done, you're just gonna go ahead and start making your way back to the Enviromancer. And the nice thing about this shift drop setting is I can just like, I can just run and all I have to do is click on these vials and they automatically get destroyed if I hold both shift and Y. And once we go back, all we have to do is just keep talking to the Enviromancer again and get our vials back and rinse and repeat. And you can expect to get, with these settings, you can expect to get about 50k XP an hour. Your run energy is not going to... You're going to run out of run energy after about 3 or 4 invents. But I have 81 agility, and I'd pretty much only have to walk across that bridge and over here to the Enviromancer. That's about when my run energy would run out after each trip, so it didn't impact my XP per hour that greatly. But yeah, that's pretty much the Lunar Herblore method. It's honestly not that bad if you have like the shift drop settings enabled, just because you don't have to continually right click a lot of items. Like, the only time you have to right click is to set up the shift drop settings, so it's all just left clicks. And I think that is what attributes to the such high XP per hour, and also the fact that it's not really terrible to do. So yep, that's pretty much it. I may as well I'm gonna go try and put the lunar armor in my house, and if that does actually work, then I'll be back with an addendum. Like, you can totally wear Graceful for this quest. So yep, I'll be right back. Update: yeah, you totally need the lunar armor in your inventory. She calls you out. You say you don't have lunar robes, and then she says that you have some in the costume room of your house. So yep, you have to have the lunar on you at all times. I mean, you could have it in your inventory and have weight reduction gear, but that's also a lot of, like, like, if I were to wear Graceful instead, that's 6 fewer inventory slots, and I think the energy doesn't, like, the running out of energy where I do doesn't impact the XP per hour all that badly, so I would just go ahead and say don't worry about it. But yep, that is a quick guide on the Lunar Herblore method. I hope this helps you guys out. Thank you very much. Hope you all have a good day. I figured I would just go ahead and record about an hour of doing the Lunar Herblore method. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here at the end and speed it up by about 10x, just because it's a 56-minute clip. But anyways, I'm going to throw on some music, so if you guys want to watch it, go right ahead.